Hello my friends, and welcome back here to Seed and Sparrow Homestead. If this is your first time hanging out, hi, my name is Kelsey. I hope you enjoyed your holidays. They were a little bit hectic for us, and that is the reason this video is a bit shorter. I didn't have a whole lot of time this week, and sorry if you can hear some noise in the background. I've got a bunny next to me, and she likes to throw her dishes. So we are at the very beginning of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and because of my uploading schedule, it's only a couple days into the challenge as of right now, so I'm just going to share with you what I fed my family in a day on the Pantry Challenge. If you are unsure of what the Pantry Challenge is that I'm referring to, I will post a video here on the screen and one down in the description for you to check it out. One of my favorite things about this challenge is it helps me get inspired again because I have to get creative. I have been in a bit of a cooking slump. You just kind of get stuck in the same olds, and I'm excited to switch things up. So for breakfast, I am working on a waffle sandwich, and here I'm making the waffles. I will have all of today's recipes down in the description for you if you are interested. So this recipe is as follows: 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can very easily substitute a 1-to-1 gluten-free, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon sugar, 1 2/3 cup milk, 2 eggs, a 1/3 cup of butter or oil, but the butter will need to be melted. And if you like, you could add a teaspoon of vanilla, but I kept that out because I'm using these for sandwiches. So an added challenge to this year's Pantry Challenge for me is that I am not currently eating much of anything in my pantry because I am back to eating somewhat carnivore. It'd be more of like a ketovore. I am primarily consuming meats, some dairy, hard cheeses, eggs, and there's a few fruits and veggies I know I tolerate well that I also have in my diet. I had been carnivore for many months and I felt great, experienced a lot of healing, slowly tapered off of that, and now after the holidays, I'm just really feeling a need for a detox and a reset. So that is what I am doing. So I'm not actually eating anything. I am preparing here, at least not in the way that you see me preparing it. I am just eating, like this morning, I just had bacon and eggs. So this challenge, it may take a bit longer for us to work through some things because it's primarily my husband eating the canned goods who might be doing this for a little while. So for breakfast, we had some waffle sandwiches, some eggs over easy, some Colby Jack cheese, cowboy candy, and some bacon. And he said he would eat these every day. So 1 small jar of cowboy candy used up. Just taking you through everything we are eating this day or drinking here. I always start my day by filling up my big tumbler full of Redmond Real Light, getting in some electrolytes and some minerals, and Matt and I usually have some of the dandelion coffee substitute in the morning, so I'm mixing that up here as well. I usually throw in a glug of maple syrup as well, and then I mix up some raw milk and some colostrum in the frother. I have been adding this colostrum powder by Wonder Cow into our drinks in the morning after they've cooled a bit to preserve all of the goodness in the powder. It's amazing for gut health, supports a healthy immune system. It's great for muscle recovery and energy. Plus, they test for pesticides, heavy metal, and glyphosate, which is super important to me, and I so appreciate that. And they have amazing top-of-the-line supplements. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to check them out, and that will also allow you to receive 15% off your order. I love making smoothies to use up some things. It's a great way to disguise things as well. Hello, mothers of young children who need to get just some good stuff in them. So I have some milk in here, putting in some strawberry banana jam. I have so many jams to use up. This is a great way to use them. That's a Pomona's Pectin jam recipe. So I believe it's either super low sugar or made with honey. So I don't have to add any other sweetener to the smoothies, I have a bunch of frozen fruit from the garden. So I threw in some strawberries, I had some banana, some collagen powder here. I also threw in some of the colostrum powder, and I had a bunch of Greek yogurt that needed to get used up as well. If I had some like leafy greens in the fridge that needed used, I would throw them in too. I didn't have any, but sometimes I'll add spinach or kale. Again, get some good stuff in the kiddos without them knowing it. Okay, on to lunch. This was a suggestion from one of you on how to use up my surplus of pickles. And let me just tell you, you all came in for me real good. There are so many good suggestions down in the comments of my last video on how to use pickles. And one of you said to wrap up a pickle spear with some cream cheese, some cheese, and some sort of lunch meat. So I had some organic roast turkey here, threw in some cream cheese, one of my pickle spears, and I had these mini Baby Bell cheeses that my kids have randomly decided all of a sudden they just don't like anymore. They do this to me all the time. They go through spurts where they like something and then they don't. So I decided to kind of disguise them in here, and Matt and I ate these actually for lunch as well. Pickles are something I can eat. So this was actually very much enjoyed by Matt and I more than the kids. They're picky, and they didn't love that a pickle was wrapped up in their meat and cheese, but they did try it, and then they disassembled it and ate it all separately because they're kids. And I served it with some of my peach ale mustard, and like I said, we really enjoyed it, so I'll be doing that again. We're gonna get a head start on dinner. I have some butternut squash that are actually from the 2023 garden, so a whole year ago. I love growing these because they are such a great storage crop for me without having a root cellar. Never had an issue with them going mushy or moldy or anything on me. But they're not my family's favorite thing to eat, which is a shame. I need to kind of disguise them in order to get them to eat them. I actually love them. I will eat roasted butternut squash all of the time. But I have found a way that they will eat them, and that is making it into a sauce with pasta. So I cubed up my butternut squash here, threw on some salt and pepper, added some minced garlic, probably a clove or two worth, add to your heart's desire, and drizzled with some olive oil. Roasted these at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, gave them a stir, and then I added some of my cherry tomatoes, the tomatoes that I showed you on the pantry tour that are just in like a random grocery bag, waiting for something to be done with them. So I just probably grabbed 2 cups of them and threw them here on the tray, right from frozen, and we're going to roast everything until it starts to get a little bit caramelized and everything is soft. While we wait, we're going to work on another snack for the day and for the rest of the week, using up some of my overly spiced peaches. I'm going to put them into a muffin recipe that I found that requires a cup of peach puree. And the recipe also calls for some spices, and I'm just going to omit those and allow the peaches themselves to spice the recipe because, like I said, they are so overly spiced. So you need 1 cup of peach puree, and then I diced up a few more peaches just to throw in to have some peach chunks in the muffins. Then you need 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, just a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon if you don't have spiced peaches, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. I just omitted those 2 things. For some more wet ingredients, you need 2 eggs, a 1/2 cup of honey, a 1/2 cup of whatever milk you would like to use, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. You could use butter or olive oil if that's all you had. added the peach pieces in there at the end and topped them off with some rolled oats. These bake at 350 degrees for about 18 to 22 minutes. Back to dinner. We are frying up some chicken to go with our pasta dish. I have coated that in some Parmesan cheese, some salt and pepper, and some Italian spices, and I'm just going to fry them up on each side until they're nice and golden brown. Now that our veggies have roasted, we're going to stick them into a blender and puree. The puree goes into a frying pan, and we're going to mix in a few ingredients to create our pasta sauce. To the puree, I added a half cup of heavy cream. You could use half and half or milk, whatever you have. 1 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I added 1 cup of chicken broth. I just used some chicken bouillon that I had. I didn't have any ready-made broth on hand. That all gets mixed up. I added in some extra salt and pepper to taste and a little bit of red pepper flakes. You could add as much as you like to your spice preference. This is honestly such a yummy meal. It is a crowd pleaser. Everyone in my household enjoys it, even the picky little eaters. I ate this one for dinner as well. I just had some brown rice pasta since I'm gluten-free, and I went a little bit light on the pasta sauce for myself because tomatoes are kind of hit or miss for me, and I didn't want to flare anything up. Here are the muffins all done. I was told by my family they were very good, and I know that to be true because my children came back and they snuck a second one without me seeing. And I look back and I'm like, how are there so many missing? And there they were, indulging in their muffins. To finish off our day, I made a little treat for the rest of my family. We're working with some homemade ice cream. I had so many eggs to work with. Our ladies are really doing their thing right now. We are swimming in eggs. So I have 6 egg yolks going in here and about a half cup to a cup of maple syrup. You could use honey as well to sweeten it. And I had so much raw heavy cream to use. I had purchased 2 quarts of it over the holidays, and I ended up not making the recipe that I had intended to use it in. So I wanted to make sure that went to good use before, it doesn't really go bad, but it kind of goes off. So we made some homemade ice cream, and I added in 2 cups of heavy cream, 1.5 cups of whole raw milk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and of course, if you don't have raw milk, you can use whatever milk you have. And this is Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone. This is her recipe. You can't go wrong with her recipes. So I knew this was actually my first time making homemade ice cream. And I totally forgot that I even had this KitchenAid ice cream maker. It was sitting in my basement collecting dust. So perfect opportunity here to put it to good use. And just knowing that this ice cream is free of all of the yucky stuff. I honestly hate giving my kids ice cream that is store-bought, filled with the preservatives and the gums and different fillers and all of like the quote-unquote natural flavorings. I felt pretty good about giving them this stuff. So after about 20 minutes, got to this consistency, and here I could have added some of my different canned things I had downstairs, like the sundae in a jar or some syrup or preserves, and put them in there. But like I've said before in the video, my kids are picky. So we got vanilla, and then Matt got some of the sundae in a jar on the top of his. So I actually didn't freeze this attachment here long enough. It's at a minimum of 15 hours, and I missed that part. And it was only in for about 8, and it didn't really set very hard. So they got soft serve ice cream, but it was thoroughly enjoyed by all. They devoured it, and Matt really liked the sundae in a jar as well. That's like cherry and chocolate liqueur, and I believe it was either strawberries or raspberries. It's a ball book recipe. Okay, my friends, that is all I have for you for day 1 of the 3 Rivers Pantry Challenge. I hope you enjoyed coming along for what I fed my family in a day. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. You have a blessed week, and I will see you next time. Take care.